Is this thing on?
I don't know.
Because I had to say that.
Greetings, one and all. Welcome to the latest edition of the Techzim podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the Techzim podcast. Special in the sense that we're back after a long time.
Yep.
We're joined by Batsirai.
Yebo.
You've seen him on video, so this is the man over the radio now. We have a new Techzim team member who's joining us for this podcast, Eddie.
Yes, how are you out there? I am thrilled to be with these guys.
Yes, he's about to defend old school money in a very big way. And our special guest for today is none other than Tawanda Kembo, Bitcoin evangelist, the only certified Bitcoin trader in Zimbabwe.
So two things wrong there. So first of all, it's Tawanda Kembo.
I realized that when I said it the first time that I'm thinking of someone totally different.
And secondly, I'm not certified. You don't need any particular certification to start using Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. I was about to start a Bitcoin college, and now you're just killing my dream here.
The good thing about Bitcoin is you can just go ahead and start one.
Okay.
Bitcoin enables something called permissionless innovation.
Yes.
Something we haven't seen in financial services before Bitcoin was invented. So anyone can just build their financial services application or start their college. Or start trading today without permission from anyone. And I think that's one of the best things about Bitcoin.
You know, when you said that, it reminded me of this series that's just come out called Startup. Have you watched it?
Yes, I watched it.
With the whole Bitcoin thing, and when they were pitching and they were talking about people in Afghanistan who don't have access to bank accounts being able. Have you watched Startup?
No, I haven't. I saw people talking about it in the Techzim groups and going crazy about it.
It's actually a really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I watched season 1. I loved it.
So what exactly are we talking about here today? Because I'd love to talk about startup. It sounds interesting.
No. We're here to talk about Bitcoin. So, Mr. Kembo, please just give us a brief outline or brief summary of what Bitcoin is.
Bitcoin is digital cash. As in a cash transaction, if I give you a $10 bill, that money comes from me to you directly.
Okay.
It doesn't go via a bank or a financial institution. And Bitcoin works the same way, except digitally. In a Bitcoin transaction, people transact digital. It's a peer-to-peer transaction. So you send money from one peer, it goes directly to the other peer without going via a bank.
Okay.
It's the first time that human beings have been able to do that. And what makes that so hot is you can now transact with someone no matter where they are in the world. All they need is just an internet connection.
Okay.
And there's no bank sitting in the middle collecting lots of transaction fees when you transact. The transactions are instant. Bitcoin doesn't care about your border or where you are. So it doesn't care if you are in Harare or Nairobi or Mombasa. You can send money directly to someone in Mogadishu and it gets there instantly.
So what do I need to start trading in Bitcoin? Do I need my copy of my ID, proof of residence, passport photo?
To start using Bitcoin, you don't. You can now download a Bitcoin on your favorite device or your laptop. You can download a Bitcoin wallet and you are set.
Okay.
You don't need a proof of residence to do that. There are companies which provide different Bitcoin-related services, and some of them may want to do something we call in the industry KYC to just verify your identity and make sure you're not a terrorist or you're dabbling in illegal stuff, or you can start using their services. But Bitcoin itself doesn't care. Anyone can start using Bitcoin today.
So where does the Bitcoin come from?
Bitcoin is generated via a process called Bitcoin mining.
Okay.
And for our guests, I don't want to get too technical. I'm just going to give a simple explanation of what that is. Bitcoin is designed around it's designed around something called a blockchain, which is it's the real innovation behind Bitcoin. So it's this transparent ledger where all the Bitcoin transactions are put on this ledger, which everyone can see. And so this ledger is not proprietary and sitting behind some bank's server, and only the bank's personnel can see transactions. In Bitcoin, everyone can see the transactions, and they are all transparent. The people who validate these transactions before they are put in this ledger are called Bitcoin miners. These are people who contribute computing power, just verify transactions to keep the network secure, and we've got lots of Bitcoin miners all over the world. It's a very decentralized system. These miners get paid in Bitcoin, which is issued every roughly around 10 minutes. About 12.5 Bitcoins are issued. That number halves every 4 years. And so when you do the mathematics, you'll see that by around the year 2140, the last few Bitcoins will be generated. And so we'll have 21 million Bitcoins in circulation.
Okay. Is that enough? Is that 21 million sounds like a small figure for everyone in the world?
I think it is. One Bitcoin is divisible to 8 decimal places.
Okay.
And we can create more if we want. And so you don't need a whole Bitcoin to trade with a small fraction of a Bitcoin or a few cents worth of Bitcoin.
And what is like the value of one Bitcoin?
One Bitcoin is around 630.
630.
Yeah.
Okay. So
USD.
There's an opportunity. US dollars.
Not
yes.
bonds. Not bonds.
We'll get bond note is a very okay. Let's just ask the question: will I be able to buy Bitcoin with bond note?
Yes. So at Bitfinance, we're really excited about these bond notes which are coming up, and we think it's going to be a huge opportunity for us.
Hallelujah.
Particularly because we. You can't use these bond notes outside Zimbabwe. Whenever there's news whenever the central bank says something about bond notes, we see the volume go up on our exchange, and we really can't wait for them to come.
So people are starting to accept Bitcoin as their foreign currency, basically.
By people, you mean people in Zimbabwe?
Well, the people who are exchanging with you currently.
Yeah, so we've got a two-sided market, and so we basically have two kinds of customers.
Okay.
Some of them come to sell Bitcoin. Some of them come to buy Bitcoin. I'll let the third, people who kind of speculate on the price of Bitcoin, and they both buy and sell.
Okay, all right.
So we have three types of customers.
So with the whole cash crisis going on at the present moment, how does Bitcoin fit into all of that? Where is Bitcoin benefiting people in this current environment?
I think there's always been a use case for Bitcoin. I just think it's said that a lot of people are realizing it now because of the cash crisis. But and to those people, I always say those people have forgotten about 2008. Where Bitcoin really shines is when you want to do transactions across the border. So let's say you sell products in Zimbabwe, but you import them from another country. It's getting harder to do that, and in many cases, some imports have been banned completely.
Okay.
So some people are going out of business, and now Bitcoin makes it easy for these people to move money across the border, and that's where Bitcoin really shines, to cross-border transactions and online payments.
Could you say that it's too late for people to join the Bitcoin revolution?
Well, I wouldn't call it a revolution, but I also kind of look at it as the next stage of human development. So when you look
evolution.
Yes, so,
right.
So more of an evolution. But because when you look at the history of humanity, you kind of get that we are not going back in time. We're actually moving forward. So barter trade is gone, and fiat currencies are going to be replaced by something which is much better, something like Bitcoin, and a lot of people are starting to realize it now.
A lot of speculation is happening in the current market in Zimbabwe, where people are trying to figure out ways to deal with the bond note and to deal with the cash crisis. Is Bitcoin affected by what's going on in Zimbabwe, or is it completely separate from the system here? Is the value affected in any way by what happens in Zimbabwe?
It kind of is, in the sense that the price of Bitcoin is purely market based, so it's purely determined by supply and demand.
Okay.
And so with the cash crisis in Zimbabwe, we've seen that the price of Bitcoin on Bitcoin Fundi, bitcoinfundi.com is our Bitcoin exchange,
Okay.
is usually 5 to 10% higher than it is on other international exchanges. And like we have a whole blog post explaining why and the different dynamics, but one of the big reasons is because the demand is high.
Okay.
In Zimbabwe for Bitcoin,
Alright,
and there's not enough Bitcoin in circulation, so that pressure, that increased demand, kind of also influences the price of Bitcoin.
So you talked of people being able to facilitate transactions, especially if they're importing the goods. What have you seen people buy so far with Bitcoin?
The great thing about Bitcoin is you can now use it to buy almost anything. So, like one we're really excited about is we're helping people buy cars in Japan using Bitcoin.
Okay.
On bforward.jp. We see people using it to buy plane tickets, to pay for hosting services, to buy different stuff. I think the real question is, what can you not buy online with Bitcoin?
How did you guys find out that you can buy cars on B4? Did you just stumble on it, or is it like it's time now?
Like Zimbabwe is a key market for companies like B4, and before the cash crisis, so before around March, it was kind of easy for someone to pay using their bank. After around March, like not all banks can still send money to Japan.
Yeah.
Some still can, but most can't. And so if you are banking with a bank which can't send money to Japan, then you can't buy a car.
Yeah.
So I guess they've been they've been looking at different alternatives, and Bitcoin is kind of the one which makes sense.
Yeah.
And so
Because
they've just recently opened up Bitcoin payments for Zimbabwean customers.
All right.
And it's working so great, they are now considering opening it up to in other countries, places in Africa where there are similar problems.
So Zimbabwe is the first country they've introduced Bitcoin payments.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
In fact, I kind of think Zimbabwe is the ideal use case for Bitcoin
because of the currency, banana republic currency issues we have right now.
Yeah, I think that too.
Plus
but
the US dollar impact.
Yeah, but when you think about it, we don't have a currency of our own.
Yeah.
And so all the currency we're using is foreign currency. Anyway, Bitcoin just works so much better than these other currencies we are using. In other countries, like there's little incentive to use Bitcoin for payments and to do cross-border transactions. Think of someone in the US, for instance. They are using their own money. It's very easy to open a bank account, very easy to do online payments, international transfers, or get access to credit at good terms. Like, that's all very, very difficult in Africa, and it's even harder in Zimbabwe. And so a technology like Bitcoin, although it doesn't work in all use cases, it's not the silver bullet which solves all the problems, but it solves some problems, and it works in some use cases.
So, sorry to take you back, but you talked about how, well, obviously you're looking forward to a run on local currency alternatives like bond notes as people adopt alternatives like Bitcoin. And you talked about how people who would probably be keen on jumping onto Bitcoin because they can use it to make purchases outside and stuff. So that begs the question, why isn't the government embracing it 100% and saying, to solve a lot of the problems we have with all these importers saying we need to come to RBZ at the end of the month to get Forex, and you don't have it, like what's happening with the guys for fuel. Guys, we are going to do so much to make sure that everyone embraces Bitcoin. We'll still use bond notes in Zimbabwe, and rather than burden us with this rush for we want USDs, we want greenback, we'll try to work with guys like Bitcoin evangelists like Kembo and their Bitcoin exchange, and have all these importers buy Bitcoin so that they can make their transactions outside.
I'm going to make a prediction. which is that the government is eventually going to say that, but I think it's just going to take time. It's going to take time for them to understand this technology and be a place where they are comfortable enough to make recommendations.
But who's for them to understand it? I'm of the impression that they kind of do, to a certain extent. Maybe not as an in-depth understanding as the one that you have, since you are all Bitcoin, but to at least understand how this is going to alleviate the current situation in such a big way. I mean, it's as clear as night and day. So why not look at it aggressively and say, for the next 2 weeks, we really need to look at this technology, strip it apart, look at how it's going to work, because we're running out of time. Bond notes are coming in how many weeks?
Yeah, in about 3-4 weeks.
3-4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And Eddie here is frustrated because he's thinking, hey,
how am I going to buy my stuff now?
You know,
I wanted to buy my stuff online.
Fuel there's a fuel crisis. We know that retailers are going to be hard hit by it. 2008 scenario. So it's time for these guys to act. Why are they taking so long?
I think they want to. I kind of understand it, because when I got into Bitcoin a few years ago. It took me about a year to really understand how it works under the hood. And I consider myself a very smart person. But I say that in a humble way, but I also speak confidently, because I actually spent a lot of time trying to understand how this technology really works. And although the benefits are clear, so the benefits are as clear as day, there are some concerns where I would sympathize with the regulator, and why I would sympathize with why they wouldn't rush to endorse Bitcoin without doing all their homework. So some of these concerns are how at the end of the day, although Bitcoin has all these benefits, it's still money, and money can be used for bad stuff. Money is like technology; it can be used to launder money or to finance terrorism.
But then you have cases of countries like Japan, which we have so many arrangements with. We are basically best friends with Japan, who have taken up Bitcoin and said, you know what, this is actually a worthwhile situation for our people in Japan to transact. If a country like Japan can lead the front and say, we are willing to adopt Bitcoin and enact it and legislate it, and now you as a Zimbabwean can buy something in Japan with Bitcoin, why is it that the RBZ is so resistant of it?
I wouldn't call them resistant. And again, I don't work for the central bank.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't know why, how long it would take them. But I've met some people there, and I'm confident that they are looking for solutions which which actually help people, and looking for way, and they are looking towards innovation, which is where I think the solution is going to lie. I predict they are going to embrace it eventually. I just think it's going to take time. And then about your particular question, I'm going to I can't speak for them, but my guess is that the Japanese regulators kind of had a head start, and they started looking at it much earlier.
Much earlier.
Yeah.
What I saw, what really kind of put Bitcoin once again on the radar is there was never really a way to quantify Bitcoin, to say, you know how if you have $1 you can buy sadza. There was no, if you have this Bitcoin you can buy that. So with this opening up of B Forward, because if we look at our local car market, it's predominantly second-hand vehicles from B Forward. B Forward has probably a monopoly in there. So if someone sees that, oh, okay, I can get a Bitcoin and I can buy a car, it then makes it a serious thing. And obviously there are other things that you can buy Bitcoins with, but then clearly everybody is on a mission right now to say, you know what, I'm saving up to buy a car. And if the government or if the banking setup in Zimbabwe is not allowing you to make those transfers, when you finally get to that stage, why not just adopt Bitcoin.
Yep, and that's the problem we're solving.
So right now you are perfectly placed to be intermediaries or middlemen in the transaction system.
Yes, I think, and it's not just cars. And so when you think about it, there are lots of people who do business across the border. So some people who are helping freelancers who work on Fiverr or freelancer.com, and they get paid in PayPal. It's not easy to convert that money to cash in Zimbabwe. And so we've kind of figured out how to help them convert those PayPal dollars to Bitcoin. And then we make it super easy to convert Bitcoin to US dollars. And, and so, but the point I'm just driving towards is Bitcoin is not just for cars. Like Bitcoin particularly shines when when you do business across borders or when you do stuff online. Bitcoin is an alternative you should consider.
All right. Speaking of what people have been using Bitcoin for, with the whole MMM thing that has been happening, the phenomenon of MMM, 66,000 people losing their money. How much of Bitcoin were they using in this MMM setup?
To be honest, I don't know. And I think it's particularly said that a lot of people were introduced to Bitcoin via MMM. And so they've come to associate Bitcoin with MMM.
All right.
So the same way those who were introduced to Bitcoin via B-Forward may come to associate Bitcoin with cars. But I think that's kind of not a fair comparison. I think that the fact that a lot of MMM people were using Bitcoin is testament to how effective Bitcoin is. Like, it's so effective that everyone wants to use it because it's the best way to move money. And I'll also bring up another point, which is one of the reasons why I like Bitcoin a lot. Is traditionally, if you're keeping money, you had to keep it with a particular financial institution and get a bank account. Now with Bitcoin, you can do it yourself. Bitcoin turns you into your own bank. So if I've got a Bitcoin wallet on my phone, I've basically got a whole bank in my pocket, and I can hack it however I want to. I can build whatever apps I want to to interact with this bank I'm carrying in my pocket. And I think it's one of the reasons I like Bitcoin.
So how can someone learn more about Bitcoin?
One challenge we've seen is Bitcoin is still very complicated for a lot of people, and it's very hard to get into Bitcoin. And so we've decided to take it upon ourselves to educate the to educate the community and to educate Zimbabweans. We've done it via a series of blog posts. We've done we've spoken at a few conferences. And in November, we're now hosting an event we're calling the Blockchain Summer School. And this event is targeted at individuals, institutions such as financial institutions, companies that do business across borders, companies that are struggling to do online payments. And we're hosting the Blockchain Summer School from 22 to 25 November for people who would like to learn more about Bitcoin, learn more about how they can use this technology in their companies to do transactions, how they can start trading it, what business opportunities Bitcoin has besides the obvious ones. They can learn about how they can leverage this technology to do stuff more efficiently, to reduce costs. And this event is going to be running from 22 to 25 November. People can find out more information from blockchainsummerschool.com.
All right. So you don't have a set venue yet?
We're going to be hosting it at B2C. B2C Co-working is the venue sponsor. They've been kind enough to sponsor the venue for this event. So to limit it to between 100 and 150 guests. But the kind of people we see coming they just can't wrap their heads around it. We are also hoping to get some regulators on board as well.
Yesterday I know we had an article about how Bitcoin is actually legal. Do you want to just touch on that a bit?
Bitcoin is kind of in a legal gray area because all over the world Well, not really. Bitcoin is not. Although you could use it for that, it's not really the best technology to use to fund terrorism because of this thing I mentioned called the blockchain. Every transaction is put on a transparent ledger, and this ledger is immutable. No one can change this ledger ever. So no one can go back and rewrite history. So if I'm going to be funding terrorists, I'm not going to use Bitcoin because that trail is going to always be there forever.
Yes. Thank you for your insights on terrorism.
So I've got another question. I don't want to be just a Bitcoin user, or I buy Bitcoin, I make my transaction. What if I want to be a Bitcoin trader? How is there room for people to trade like the foreign exchange market?
Well, yes, there is, and it's something you can do today. And you can do that now on bitcoinfundi.com from Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So we've actually built our exchange to make it easy for traders to make money.
All right.
And we have made some rich. We're also adding a second currency pair at the end of the week, which is the South African rand. Yes, we're always kind of trying to predict the future at Bitfinance, and we kind of think that when the bond notes come, we're going to see more usage of the South African rand, and so we're adding the BTC ZAR currency pair at the end of the week.
How big is Bitcoin in South Africa? Do you have any idea?
I can find out. I wouldn't know. I don't have the facts here, but we have about 3 exchanges in South Africa. We have lots of startups there. I'm actually surprised we don't have a lot of Bitcoin startups in Zimbabwe when there are so many problems which can be solved by this technology. But the startup scene, especially the Bitcoin startup scene in South Africa, seems to be a bit more vibrant than it is in Zimbabwe. But I have no doubt that we are going to catch on.
Okay, so if I have a Bitcoin wallet, right, I can immediately start.
Yes. Where it's interesting is getting a Bitcoin wallet and getting some Bitcoin in there is a lot easier than opening a bank account anywhere in the world or getting a mobile money account anywhere in the world. Bitcoin is so much easier. And when you use it for the first time, when you make a transaction, it's actually amazing how frictionless it is as a way of making payment.
Yeah, because I'm looking to buy my first car very soon. Using Bitcoin. Well, I'm sure.
So bring on the bond notes.
So bring them on.
Bring on the bond notes. I'm looking forward to them now.
Yeah.
I have my solution.
Yeah, we're not afraid.
Yes, I'm sure that there are actually some people out there who would really be interested in how they can mine these Bitcoins. And I wanted to know if you could give us an insight on maybe how easy it is to mine them, what you need if you want to mine those, and maybe just get a quick buck whilst you're sitting at home there.
So marketing is actually easy to get into, and it's but it's capital intensive, depending on what your definition for capital intensive may be. So you need specialized hardware, and if you can buy the hardware, it can be very profitable. Yeah.
Is that your next step in evolution?
Well, not really. I think we're just going to keep focusing on the problem we're solving, which is making it super easy for people in Africa to buy or sell Bitcoin. But would love to talk to people who want to get into mining, or if you'd love to really find out how it works. Lorian will be talking about Bitcoin mining at the Blockchain Summer School.
The Blockchain Summer School. Remember that, guys.
Session on that.
The Blockchain Summer School is coming. Thank you, Mr. Kembo. If you want to just remind people when the Blockchain Summer School is and where it will be.
It's going to be from 22 to 25 November. So if you've got... if you do business across the border...
It's free though, right?
No, it's not free.
Oh.
It's... we actually have limited places.
Okay.
I can pay with Bitcoin.
Yes, you can pay with Bitcoin. You can pay by RTGS. You can pay by
Bond
EcoCash. if the bond notes come out and we still have tickets,
Yes.
we will be accepting the bond note. We're so looking forward to bond notes. By the way.
All right. Yeah. So I guess people can just check out. Do you guys have a Facebook page?
Yes, we do. Our Facebook page is Bitfinance. Our Twitter handle is Bitcoin Fundi.
All right. So everyone can just get in touch with you directly from any one of those social media.
Yes,
Okay.
or bitfinance.co.zw is our website. If you can find out more information.
All right.
And you can get a Bitcoin wallet for free today on bitcoinfundi.com.
Where's your office?
Our office is 21 Glenara Avenue in Eastleigh.
Okay.
We've also got space at B2C, which is Corner First Street and Jason Moyo.
All right.
So I actually spend half my time at B2C and half my time at 21 Glenara Avenue.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please feel free to share your own opinions and views on these and other topics, or to just give a shout out on any of our platforms. Catch us on SoundCloud, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or you can drop off a comment on techzim.co.zw. You can also sign up to be part of our podcast WhatsApp groups by following the link on our site.